afternoon. Bill Covington Jr., Trey Styons, Adam Flory, the officials, and off we go, opening possession to the Blue Devils. Foster running the show for Duke offensively to start the game.
And you know fans are excited to see Caleb Foster back at the point after that injury he sustained at the end of the season. The Blue Devils are on the board.
First touch for Cooper Flagg is a good one. And you see Duke picking up full court. John Shire talked about the emphasis on defense for his team this year.
And I think Duke has the ability to play multiple defenses this year and give opponents different looks. I'm a very defensively minded.
Too strong there. Rebound picked down by Brown. And it is an interesting balance for Duke this year, Debbie, with that talented freshman class, but also some talented transfers that Duke brought in.
Now, only 2 returners, and Caleb Foster, another bucket for Duke, and Tyrese Proctor come back in the backcourt, and 2 really talented guards, but 6 freshmen, 4 transfers, so it's putting a whole new team together.
Second possession for Lincoln. Garda. Hudson, a CIAA all-tournament selection a year ago. Boy, Freddie Young, who's got the ball now for Lincoln, really high praise by his head coach. And a foul against the Blue Devils as Foster called for the foul. Good start to the Duke career for young Cooper Flagg.
And the versatility of Cooper Flagg to play inside and out. And you can see he just posts up, the great footwork. And again, here he is setting the screen, get his teammate open, getting actively involved in his very first exhibition game. I think the fans are getting to see a little bit of what they're here for.
Hudson drives, kicks for Young, and swatted away by Flagg.
He's everywhere, offensive end, defensive end, and just so calm and so humble. You just see the tremendous athleticism. 6'9".
And a good blow by there, and a good finish by Garda.
Great take by Garda, the 6'9" senior. No, it's got to be great for Lincoln to get on the board.
Moving screen there against the Blue Devils. They'll turn it over. And that was one of the things that Coach Shire said about his team, Debbie, talking about his club. The offense is going to come. Let's focus on being a good defensive team.
Well, it's controlling the controllables, which he talks about a lot. You can rebound and you can play defense every day, and getting your defensive unit to play as 5 individuals to play as 1 has really been a focus in the preseason. He thinks they're going to be a much better defensive program this year.
10 to shoot. Young off the back door. Up and under wouldn't go for Cleveland, but he will go to the line.
That was a great look by Freddie Young on that back cut. Great read on defense here. Young keeps his head up. Great take, nice pass.
Since Cleveland to the line, played in 28 games for Lincoln a year ago. We mentioned it, this is a team that returns a ton. 4 starters, 11 letter winners. Won the CIAA with a 54-51 tournament victory over Fayetteville State.
90% of their scoring back. And for Brewer here, he was just able to get behind Sion James.
All of a sudden, Lincoln's found a way to cut it to 1. Coach Hodge said, we're not here just to have an exhibition game. They want to compete, and they think they can win the game today.
Yeah, they are, as we said, a seasoned team. They've all played together. They've won a conference championship. They come in with a lot of confidence. Duke is a team still putting the pieces together with its all-new roster.
In the corner, James drives. Extra pass, Knipple. Bit too strong. Offensive rebound for the Blue Devils. And a good play defensively. Oh, blocked by Flagg. And a foul.
Wow, Flagg just ran the floor, got up and stuck that shot to the backboard. Just look at that. Cameron Crazies go nuts on that, and we are just getting an early peek at some of the highlights already that we're going to get to see this year at Cameron.
Foul went on Knipple. That's his first.
Con Knipple, Wisconsin Gatorade Player of the Year, another member of this talented freshman class. Coach Shire telling us how consistent and tough he's been in preseason, in practice. Great shooter.
And we've talked a lot about the experience for this Lincoln team, Debbie, some of the production that they've got returning. And maybe a good challenge for this young Duke team to face such a veteran group this afternoon.
Experience makes a world of difference. We see that in the NCAA tournament down the stretch of which teams are left standing, and it's usually the ones that have the guys that have been playing for a while.
Flag down low. Good find. Brown with a dunk.
Cooper Flag just doing it all with the nice pass to Malik Brown, the Syracuse transfer.
Brown was phenomenal for the Orange. And then Duke's been very active defensively. Foster swats it away.
I think Coach Shire is glad to have Malik Brown in a white blue jersey rather than an orange one. Brown had 26 points and 7 rebounds in his last time he was in Cameron. He's just really a defensive talent. He gets a lot of deflections. He's so active right there, creating that turnover. And here's Cooper Flag.
And a foul will send Flag to the line. Well, they did count the basket, so Flag will get the 2. But back to Brown for just a second. Actually led the ACC in steals last year. Remember the ACC all-defensive team previously, and their defense leads the offense.
And 11th in rebounds, so he brings a little bit of everything to this team. They say versatility and activity.
So the goaltend there, and there'll be and one chance for Cooper Flag here. Blue Devils by 4. Hudson wants to create. Pulls up and hits the 2. Good take there by Reggie Hudson.
You can see how the Blue Devils have the ability, because of the size of their guards, they have long guards, they have the ability to switch 1 through 5 defensively.
And on the fast break, knocked away by Knipple. It'll stay with Lincoln.
Both these teams getting up and down the floor. I think another little change we'll see for the Blue Devils this season is they're going to push the pace a little bit more.
You like that?
I like that a lot. I think fans like that a lot more too. They like to see a game that gets up and down. Great rebounding teams have the ability to get out and transition, and Coach Shire has really challenged his team to be a great rebounding team this season.
Tyrese Proctor makes his debut. Boy, Proctor key down the stretch for Duke last year after he returned from that concussion protocol. And a foul against the Blue Devils.
Tyrese Proctor in his 3rd season in a Blue Devil uniform. I think a lot of fans were happy to see him return for his junior year. He's put in a great summer. He's really worked on his habits. He's got a new diet. He looks so fit, much stronger. He's their leader. He's their voice. He's a defensive specialist. I think there's a high expectation for Tyrese this season.
By the way, Malik Brown just picked up his 2nd foul this opening half. And Coach Shire going to stick with the Syracuse transfer. Maybe some blood on the hand of Cooper Flag. Jose Fonseca, the Duke athletic trainer, will attend to that. About 4 minutes into the game, do you feel like everybody's kind of found the rhythm now?
I mean, we're getting there. I think it's going to take them a quarter, maybe a half. Maybe it's just, there's so much excitement around getting out there for the first time, and you actually have fans to play in front of, and there's a lot of pieces to still put together.
First of 2 exhibition games for the Blue Devils. We'll talk about the other coming up a little later, but to Lincoln's credit, this veteran group has played unafraid in the opening half.
They've got really good guards. They've got a trio of big men that they can rotate. They've got all the pieces, and they're a confident team coming off that conference championship.
Hudson guarded by Proctor. Switches. Flag picks him up. Sorber draws a crowd. 7 to shoot. They feed the post. Garda down low and the dunk. Sorber with his first 2.
Duke trying to double on that one, and that's a nice pass out of the double team to find the open man. Great kick by Cooper Flag to Knipple, freshman to freshman.
Knipple, the Wisconsin Mr. Basketball Award last year. his first points. Duke by 3. Hudson for the tie. Strong. Proctor and the Blue Devils want to run. Knipple. Down low. Another dunk for Brown.
Wow. Really getting a first look at the unselfishness of this Blue Devil team. They just share the ball so incredibly well. So many options, Chris.
And an unselfish group. Coach Shire pointed that out in our conversation today. Kind of a rarity these days.
Indeed, and the switching continues on the perimeter. Here comes the double by Cooper Flagg. And that's a nice pass again out of the double. Find Reggie Hudson for the easy 2.
He's got 4. Duke by 3. Proctor and a moving screen. It'll go against Flagg. I tell you what, some shades of head coach Julius Hodge out here on the floor for the Lions this afternoon.
Watch this dunk right here, all power. Julius Hodge was a great player. Peter Storber with the flush.
Some ACC royalty today as Julius Hodge makes his return to the Triangle. 2-time All-America, ACC Player of the Year, drafted 20th overall by the Denver Nuggets, had a lengthy NBA career and is in his first season guiding this Lincoln program. Just did a phenomenal job for the NC State Wolfpack, leading the pack to several NCAA tournaments, including a Sweet 16.
And he said he was excited to be back in Cameron. And we asked him about his team and the culture, and he said there were 4 things: discipline, accountability, respect, and perseverance. And that's what he's instilled in these guys, and he's just really excited to be the head coach at Lincoln.
Said that Triangle basketball is, quote, the best. A lot of us would agree with that.
Indeed.
Lincoln down 3 with the ball. A couple of subs into the game for the Blue Devils. Malawatch in there and gets the deflection and the steal. Another one of those talented freshmen. Here's Proctor for 3. Knipple saves the possession. Extra pass to the corner, another triple. Wouldn't go, as Mason Gillis couldn't handle it. It'll stay with the Blue Devils. Back to Coach Hodge for a second. Had a great career. You see his numbers, but like so many others, struggled as a player in this building.
Hasn't won a game in Cameron, and we'll see if he can change that today.
Sounds like a lot of folks in the game of basketball, doesn't it? Proctor receives the pass out to Knipple for the triple. And the Blue Devils head to the lead.
Another assist. Great look by Tyrese Proctor. Knipple, he's just steady. He's getting offensive rebounds, getting his hand on the ball. Good looking freshman.
Blue Devils by 6. It's the largest lead of the first half.
Somebody lost a shoe.
I believe it was Cleveland.
Cleveland lost a shoe. He's putting it back on. And his teammate gets the bucket in the process.
That was a tough 2 there from Hudson. He's got 6.
Reggie Hudson, he plays with a lot of confidence. The shoe's still on the floor.
Hudson goes down.
Comes up with the rebound.
Maybe needs to tie the shoe a little tighter next time. Hudson from 15. Proctor the rebound.
We're still playing without a shoe.
Knipple uses the baseline and is fouled on the drive. Finally, we get the shoe back on. Good offensive movement here by the Lions.
Lincoln Lions have come in here ready to play. We watch Reggie Hudson, the senior, elevate and knock another one down. He said he's the best point guard in the conference. All CIAA last season.
Proctor, a tough take, couldn't finish, but he'll head to the line. That's high praise. If your head coach, who was an All-American a couple times, says you're the best in the league, that's saying something.
He finished last season with 147 assists. It's quite a number. And he went to the same high school, alma mater.
So there is some bias
Coach
there.
Hodge,
There's some bias
you know.
already. Proctor to the line. And what a phenomenal conversation with Julius Hodge today.
I just really enjoyed talking to him. He was such a gracious man, and just you could tell how passionate he was about his team and how happy he was to be at Lincoln in his first head coaching year.
He talked about his long-standing relationship with his college head coach, Herb Sindek, who was at NC State for forever. Julius coached with Herb at Santa Clara, said that Coach Sindek made me have every detail to every scouting report.
He paid his dues as an assistant 3 seasons at Arkansas Little Rock, 3 at San Jose State, 2 at Herb Sindek at Santa Clara.
Now his first head coaching experience. Has his team right in it as we approach the midway point of the first half. And the Blue Devils go to sleep defensively, and an easy layup for Coach Sinuse.
Darren Harris just lost sight of his player. 6'6" freshman out of Herndon, Virginia.
Proctor answers back, his first field goal. .15 to shoot. Good defense by Proctor.
Proctor does a great job pressuring the ball.
And nearly a travel, and yeah, they will get the walk there. Coach Shire talked about how he wanted to see better defense out of his team. Probably not super happy with this last basket.
Defense is all about communication, and you watch 2 players run to 1 player, which leaves 2 minus 1 is 1, wide open under the basket.
Blue Devils by 5 as we approach the off season for him and the program.
And he said the 2 focal points were that he wanted his team to be highly competitive, and he wanted them to be really connected, and he's really pleased with the progress in both areas. And the biggest compliment you can give him as a coach to say his team is competitive. And they have 10 guys that can start, and they go at it every single day.
Proctor short on the 3, and it'll stay with the Blue Devils. And so there are going to be times this year where maybe all 5 guys on the floor can shoot. And I was also struck by the fact that he said, you know, didn't promise anything to anybody. Didn't promise to start, didn't promise minutes, just promised to be part of the team.
Yeah, he's had some really honest conversations with the players coming in, the players that chose to stay, and he said whatever you're going to get, you're going to earn it, and that's what these guys do every day.
Kind of an old school approach.
I like those honest conversations. It's the right approach.
5-second call against the Blue Devils there. Lincoln gets it back. give the Lions credit. They have certainly hung with the 7th-ranked Blue Devils to this juncture. Hudson to a double team and swatted away by the Blue Devils.
Great help by Kaman coming over there. You can see the rim protection that Duke has this year, and Kaman is going to be called for the block there, and he's going to the free throw line.
Look at the length here by Kaman Malawach.
And what a piece to add to Duke's interior defense this year. I mean, his wingspan and his reach, and he's just such a solid athlete. And then he runs the floor and gets it, takes it to the rim, and gets fouled.
Native of South Sudan. So they called that foul, that blocking foul on the floor. Coach Shire not happy.
Come on, the number 3 prospect, number 1 center in the country. Luol Deng was his mentor, which I thought was really cool.
Coach Shire compared him to Derek Lively. Pretty high praise. Here's James, who would try a triple. Bit too strong.
And we talked about the comparison to Derek Lively and Mark Williams, and in those big, tall bodies and how long it takes to develop. And Kaman didn't start playing basketball until recently, so he's made tremendous progress, and they're looking really forward to his growth throughout the season.
Just been such a pleasant surprise. Some of the numbers. NBA Academy in Africa in 2021. Look at that wingspan and the standing reach.
It's pretty incredible, and I think that experience that he received on the South Sudan Olympic team this year was really invaluable to him.
Any kind of international experience, I imagine, is pretty valuable for any player. Foul went on James. He'll take a seat with his second foul. A little bit of foul trouble here for Duke. Brown and James, each with 2 personals. And Coach Sinews gets the front end of the 1-and-1.
Shortest player on the Duke roster is 6'5", so you've got some big guards, some long arms, and defensively they're going to be really tough to score against with the ball pressure they can put on in the interior defense.
All of a sudden, just a 3-point game. Blue Devils trying to create some separation. Gillis, the Purdue transfer. On top, Proctor drives, and the right-handed scoop.
Lions looked like they went to a little bit of a 2-3 zone that time, and Proctor able to get right down the middle to the bucket.
Good start for Proctor, one of the 2 returners on this Duke team. The Duke team picked to win the ACC in the preseason.
So hard to play against a team that switches unless you can find a mismatch, and that's a nice feed down low.
Coach Sinews, he's got 6. And that was one of the things that Lincoln wanted to do, get downhill and do the paint.
They're doing a great job. 3-point game and a turnover right there by Knipple, and here come the Lions.
Chance to tie with a 3. They've got it in the hands of one of their most steady players.
And a mismatch down low. Proctor guarding the big man. Nice help by Caleb Foster to come over there and break that up.
Foster kind of got pinned a moment ago, though.
Switching creates mismatches sometimes, and Foster just gets posted up by a bigger body. And Coach Sinews is able to finish an easy one at the rim.
Duke creates the turnover. Here comes Cooper Flagg. Ahead for Brown for the finish.
Those are the turnovers that Lincoln can ill afford if they want to play with this Blue Devil team. They've done a nice job taking care of the ball so far, though.
Only 4 turnovers for Lincoln. 5 thus far for Duke. Halfway through the opening half, Jackson out for Hudson. Goes begging, and the Lions will keep it. Defense leading to offense again for the Blue Devils.
Coach Shire talking about defense, creating this opportunity for Malik Brown to throw it down.
Syracuse transfer. Played 2 seasons for the Orange, 61 games, 25 starts. Averaged over 7.5 for his Syracuse career.
ACC all-defensive selection last season. Just a nice nice piece of the puzzle here for Duke with his active hands on and off the ball. Turnover.
I'm curious from your perspective. We've talked about how Duke's trying to mesh it all together in terms of transfers, returners, freshmen. As a coach, how do you balance going into the portal to get a transfer versus getting these quality freshmen?
We're talking to Coach Shire about that. I don't know that there is an answer to that, and it's such a puzzle that these coaches now have to put together as soon as the season's over every year. I am not envious of that responsibility at all.
Foul on the floor.
I think the balance is nice. You can see the value of already Cooper Flagg, obviously, I think Knipple and some of the freshmen, but then you get this older player, maturity, leadership, been there, done that. You know, Mason Gillis played in the national championship game last year with Purdue. You can't buy that experience.
No, it's been such a mainstay for Purdue. 132 career games and now a chance to finish his career in Durham. Proctor off the bounce is fouled.
Proctor finished last season averaging 10.5 points a game, led the team in assists with 118, and I think he's really looking to elevate his game and his role this season as the lone junior 3-year returner.
Really talked about how much of a privilege it is for him to be able to play the point guard position at Duke. Said it was something he dreamed of. Flagg from outside. Cooper Flagg can do it all.
And the crazies love it. I mean, how smooth is that? How mature is that? The poise he plays with, and he's 17 years old. He doesn't turn 18 until December, and it's a great take to the basket.
What were you doing when you were 17?
Not this. I mean, well, not at this level, for sure.
Knipple, another triple, another three.
Wow.
His third of the opening half.
And the freshmen are shining in this season opening exhibition game.
All of a sudden, a 9-point Duke lead. Blue Devils have hit their last 4 shots. And away from the ball. A foul against Duke.
Knipple, he comes from a basketball family. Mom played at Wisconsin Green Bay. His dad played. And you see the Blue Devils, their ability to shoot from long range, catch and shoot for Cooper Flagg, and quick catch and release by Knipple, and the freshmen sharing the ball with each other. One thing Coach Tyre told us, we said, what's going to be a little different this year? And he says, we are going to be a very good shooting team. We can put 4 or 5 shooters on the court at all times.
A Duke team that shot 37% from 3 a year ago. Sorber misses on the front end, and the Blue Devils can add to their largest lead of the game. Flagg pulls up, and a chance for 3.
Well, I think we can all see when they say generational talent, boy, he can just do it all, and it's just so incredibly smooth. And it's 6'9" on the perimeter, how he handles the ball and just elevates in that beautiful stroke. It is going to be a privilege to get to watch him play all year.
Already 9 points, perfect from the floor, and buries the free throw. Boy, if you're Lincoln, kind of searching for some sort of offense here, aren't you?
Yeah, they held in there for a while, but now they didn't answer, and the Blue Devil defense is really starting to pick up, and you see the help there from Kaman. Knipple with the closeout. Hard to find a good look at the basket right now when this Blue Devil defense is really starting to excel. Contested outside shot, but it goes down anyway over the outstretched hand of Cooper Flagg.
Big 3 for Cleveland, his first field goal. Kind of stops the run for the Blue Devils.
It's a much needed bucket by the Lions. Great back cut by Tyrese Proctor. Good read on the defense. Defense turns their head and just take them to the rim. And it's the Blue Devils with a 33-24 lead. Cooper Flagg doing it all.
Seems to be the case for Duke here in the first half.
Defense, defense is just a mentality. It's 5 guys moving together. You've got to be tough guarding the ball, and you've got to keep the ball out of the paint. The Blue Devils are doing a nice job doing that in the second part of this first half.
Tyrese Proctor at the line out of the timeout. And the Blue Devils by 11. Caleb Foster returning for Proctor. Blue Devils, as you might expect, have gone pretty deep into the bench here today.
As we said earlier, I mean, really 10 players that could start. It gives them a lot of flexibility and versatility in lineups.
Imagine what it's like in practice every day with this group.
And I think that's what's made them so incredibly competitive, is they just go head to head every day because there's nothing guaranteed. Nice pass for the dunk. It's a nice play there by the Lions.
Garda gets the bucket. Flag a good find. Foster can hit the triple. Malawatch the rebound. And the Blue Devils reset. And Flag is fouled.
That's just beautiful alley-oop pass. Great, able to get behind the defense with a nice assist from Reggie Hudson. And Coach Hodge is like, that's what I'm talking about.
Looked like Coach Hodge back in the day. Well, those were some great NC State teams that he played on in the early part of the 2000s.
It's nice when your team comes out and executes what you draw on the board.
Makes you look like a genius, doesn't it?
It's good coaching right there.
One more for Cooper Flag. Preseason ACC Rookie of the Year. And thus far today has lived up to the billing. Sorber returning for Lincoln.
He's really done a little bit of everything. He's 4 for 4 from the floor. He's got 11 points, 4 assists. He's played some good defense.
A lot of the intangibles that you just can't measure by a single statistic. Lead back out to 11 for Duke. They led by as many as 12 in the opening half. Ten to shoot for Cleveland, who lost the handle, but it'll stay with the Lions.
Good on-ball defense by Flag, though. I mean, at 6'9", he is so incredibly mobile on the perimeter.
Sorber.
7 on the shot clock, 6-5.
Sorber trying to back down his man. Tough jumper. And gets the friendly roll. And has a little something to say for the Blue Devil bench.
Peter Sorber, the senior transfer from Morgan State. Nice turnaround. Flag took a good look at that one.
Knipple again from the outside. Another three. His 4th of the opening half.
Wow, and it's the quick release. Knipple just spots up. He's ready to catch and shoot. And another, I mean, he and Flag just have the most beautiful shooting strokes. Both freshmen, 12 apiece to lead all scorers in this game.
Shot clock already down to single digits. Hudson tries to create. From the elbow, wouldn't go. Rebound for the Blue Devils.
Blue Devils right now are doing a great job forcing contested outside jump shots, making everything difficult on the offensive end for Lincoln.
Gillis, now Foster. All the way to the hole, and the foul.
So nice to have Caleb Foster back out there on the court. These are just a little bit of the things he brings to the table, his ability to go one-on-one to the bucket. We said he missed the final 9 games of the season with an ankle fracture. He was just starting to play incredibly well for a freshman, but he lived in the gym this summer, and he's so excited to be back out on the court as one of the leaders of this team.
Has really started to, along with Tyrese Proctor, take the reins of the point guard position for the Blue Devils.
They're roommates, which I think is great. They get along really well, and it's great to have that kind of camaraderie in the backcourt for the Blue Devils.
Here comes Lincoln. But the Blue Devils out to their biggest lead of the game.
Trying to post up Foster inside. Ball pressure's just making it really difficult to get any separation and have any kind of good vision.
Gillis gets the rebound. Foster, Flag, extra pass, Knipple in the corner. His 5th three.
Wow, great ball movement and the extra pass, and the freshman, again, he loves that corner. He's just spotted up, he gets the ball, and he knocks down yet another three-point shot for Con Knipple.
How about the Blue Devils on an 8-0 run over the last 80 seconds?
Con Knipple, the Wisconsin Gatorade Player of the Year. 5 for 7 from behind the arc, 15 points on the day. Quite a performance by the freshman.
It's been all the freshmen that have had great debuts. And so many different lineups we've seen from Duke already, Debbie. Really shows the interchangeable pieces that Duke has.
They really do, and you know, these games, these exhibition games, are a great opportunity to work with different lineups, different defenses, and just really see where your team excels, where you might need a little work, and who plays well together. They're still trying to figure that out.
Garda got caught in no man's land, passed out of it. Now Cleveland became a hot potato here, but finally Hudson with the bucket.
They're able to come up with it. Blue Devils just with a lot of deflections, a lot of activity. I mean, they're just so long. And Cooper Flagg from long range again.
Malawatch the rebound, lost it. And the possession arrow will give it to the Lions.
Yeah, and those are the areas where you're going to see Kaman improve a little bit with his strength and just grabbing that ball and keeping it up and finishing at the rim. And we just expect that his growth potential is just got so big, and from beginning to end of season, we're just going to see tremendous progress. He's a really hard worker. He's a great communicator too. Coach Shire telling us, you know, he's always talking, and that's rare for a freshman.
Really said it was all of his freshmen. Cooper Flagg, one of the loudest guys in the gym too. At 17 years old, I probably wouldn't be saying a whole lot in a situation like this.
I think that's what makes this freshman class incredibly special.
Hard to believe as much as I talk.
I mean, you know, you've grown into yourself. The ball pressure right now is just really solid.
Sorber the turnaround, left it short. Flagg with the rebound. How about the backcourt pressure by Nix? He commits the foul, and will put Cooper Flagg at the foul line.
Well, it was close for a little while, Chris, and now Duke is able to widen this to a 15-point lead. Cooper Flagg, 12 points right now. He's 3 for 4 from the free throw line.
Just what's your overall assessment of the Blue Devils? 4 minutes to go in the first half.
I can't get over the poise and maturity of the freshmen. I mean, they don't change the expression on their face. They play incredibly hard. They're intensely competitive, and they're playing really good defense, which defensively it takes a while to learn just how to play together as a team, especially when you're a freshman. And they're impressive.
Especially considering they've only had 62 days of practice to be together before this exhibition game.
Yeah. You know, and Cooper Flagg just had such great experience this summer as the lone non-NBA player on the USA Basketball Men's Select Training Team.
Foster couldn't finish. Malawatch the rebound, and a foul.
You see Malawatch, he's doing it again. He's getting the rebound, but he's got to grab it, chin it, keep it up, and he will get better and better at that. It's the Blue Devils in Cameron by 16.
And Coach Shire, we talked about just the development for Malawatch, right? And he said, and this is probably true for a lot of freshmen, Debbie, it's the speed of the game that you have to adjust to, and until you're in it, probably can't adjust to it.
Without a doubt. You know, and a lot of people think perhaps the hardest position to play as a freshman is the point guard, but I would argue that it could be in the post. It's a lot more physical. It's learning to positioning on both sides of the ball. I think it's a tough position to grow into, but Kaman certainly has the tool belt to make it happen. He's going to be a good one.
Has a smooth stroke from the line, too. Biggest lead of the game for Duke. Sorber. Good contest by the Blue Devils. Proctor with a rebound.
You can see just by Malawach's presence down there, it just alters shots. It makes it just really difficult to score in the paint.
Out to Proctor. Off the bounce. Knipple thought about it. Drives. Malawach couldn't finish. And Lincoln the other way.
Those are the shots that maybe he's not finishing them now, but come February, he'll be finishing them all.
You know, we talk a lot about Duke's offense. Blue Devils have built this 18-point lead, but Lincoln's shooting 48% from the field.
They are. They're moving the ball really well. And that's nice offense right there. A little curl off the screen by Cleveland. Knocked down that shot. Duke's just shooting 60% from the floor right now. But Lincoln's come in today, and they've come in with no fear, and they're playing hard, and they look really good. They're going to be a tough team to beat in CIAA this year.
Rare miss for Cooper Flagg, just his second miss today. Mid post. Garda unable to finish.
Garda doing a great job, though, running rim to rim and getting Tyrese Proctor on his back. Cooper Flagg on the other end does the same thing, and he can't make it go down.
Iron a little unkind to Flagg there. And a timeout called by Lincoln. And timeout here. We'll take a quick break. Back to Cameron with the Blue Devils increasing the lead when you return. Coach Hodge calling the timeout, trying to get his team organized for the final 2.5 minutes.
And that's what this game is all about. The teaching moments, just improving, learning the little things you have to do to be more successful, and Coach Hodge taking full advantage of that, and his team coming into Cameron and doing a nice job.
What an experience every year for these HBCUs. Duke historically playing an HBCU champion from the season before, and it's a great learning experience, not just for Duke, but for the CIAA participant, or the HBCU participant in this case, Lincoln. And you know, so often you're playing maybe a reigning HBCU champion that's lost so much, and it's a totally different team. Not the case for Lincoln, that returns 90% of their offense from a season ago.
Now 11 of 12 of their players back, as we said. And you know, but playing in Cameron is definitely a treat. You know, it's something you'll tell your kids and probably your grandchildren. And you see Lincoln University, for those that aren't familiar, first degree granting HBCU. They're about 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia, close to Newark, Delaware. Around 2,000 undergraduate, graduates, students combined. A great liberal arts school.
Proctor. And that'll stay with the Blue Devils. Well, Coach Hodge was working for that call on the sideline there. We asked him, what are you telling your players about playing in Cameron? He said, the fans are going to be on you and you won't get any calls today.
I let him know the truth. James.
Proctor in the corner for three. Rolls it in.
That's nice. Sion James gives the Blue Devils another ball handler playmaker, which lets Proctor move off ball and get set up to spot up for that three.
Sion James, another one of those talented transfers, played 4 seasons at Tulane, where he appeared in 114 games for the Wave.
Knipple forcing that difficult shot from the Blue Devils in transition.
Gillis for Proctor. Kicks it out, and a foul. will go against Cleveland.
And I like the attack mentality that Duke has, though. They're going to push it down the court and just look to attack the rim. You see Proctor with the catch, pull and go, attacks the paint, looks for a teammate, and draws the foul.
A couple of shots coming here for Tyrese Proctor. Said at the ACC Media Day a couple of weeks ago, he really feels that he and Caleb Foster have done a great job this summer of bringing the group together.
Yeah, having, older players, Tyrese being here 3 years, he's been through the experience. He knows what it's like to be at Duke. He knows what it's like to play at Duke. And he's just been a great leader for the younger players, these 6 freshmen that have come into this program.
Was a team captain as a sophomore last year.
And he played in that Elite Eight loss to NC State, and that one hurt. And he's really come back with a vengeance this year, trying to get back to the Final Four and take this team to where he really believes it can go.
A lot of high expectations for the Blue Devils with another #1 recruiting class. Top player in the country in Cooper Flagg. Less than a minute to go.
Great defense again by the Blue Devils. Tyrese just such good ball pressure. It's just a really good perimeter defender, forcing a difficult shot, but he gets called for the foul.
And they're going to give the bucket as well. Tough finish there. Lincoln has had some really tough finishes through contact.
Well, they have, and Duke has forced them into taking these difficult shots. And it's Toa with the finish there, making it look easy. So athletic.
Duke could go 2 for 1 here if they hurry. And there's that use it or lose it timeout called by Coach Shire. Even though it's an exhibition game, still a chance to work on some end of half, end of game strategy. That's what the Blue Devils are doing here, isn't it?
Yeah, those time score situations are critical. Coach Shire will now take an opportunity to draw something on the whiteboard, one of the quick hits that he, hopes his guys can run and run well. You can never get enough practice for these situations.
Especially against another opponent, right?
Exactly, because your team knows your sets and your time score sets and your quick hits, but to be able to run it, and that's the beauty of these exhibition games, to be able to do this against another opponent. So interesting to see with 41 seconds on the clock what Duke comes out and runs right now.
And we talked about how this is really a dress rehearsal, especially with such a new and unique group with so many freshmen. First time a lot of these guys have been in one of these situations where you try to execute something end of half, end of game.
Yes, without a doubt. John was telling us, really, like these freshmen, like they've never been through a game warm-up, and they've never, there's so many things they haven't done, right? So they're going to get their first taste of a lot of these things today. I mean, game day prep is a big mental thing, and you've got to learn how to do that for yourself and for your team.
Where do you sit in the locker room, he said. I don't know, Coach.
And Lincoln going to his zone. I like this chess match here, switching it up. Little 2-3 zone. Tyrese going to take the long range and drills it.
Big first half for Proctor. His second 3. Lincoln can hold for the last shot of the half. To the point, a 3 from Coach Sinews. And Duke with 10 seconds to go will get the last shot. Proctor kicks it out. Gillis from the wing. And the tip wouldn't go. That is the half. A really solid 20 minutes for the Duke Blue Devils.
Blue Devils shoot 57% from the floor and knock down 8 threes, and I think a great debut for the freshman Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple.
Big lead for the Blue Devils. We'll have more coverage coming up from broadcast. Was about the news that came out yesterday. Tony Bennett, 15 years at Virginia, retiring, only 55 years old. What did you make of Coach Bennett's announcement yesterday?
He's such a man of integrity, humility. He's such a class act, and he just really feels, and he said, I am not the right coach in this environment. And he's 55 years old. He's been in Virginia for 15 years. The college basketball landscape has changed, and he knows it's not for him anymore. And it's just very different now than it was, say, 10, 20 years ago.
I found it interesting as Hudson hits the bucket. He's got a dozen. We asked Coach Shire about that after a shoot-around today. And Had some high praise for Tony Bennett. Said that for 12 of the 15 years that Jon Scheyer's been at Duke, Tony Bennett has been there at Virginia. And boy, he certainly talked about the battles that Duke has with North Carolina every year as Flagg tries the triple and knocks down another. But the battles that Duke had against UVA, you think of Grayson Allen's shot here, you think of Filipowski a couple years ago at UVA, just the battles that those two programs have had, and Tony Bennett's been involved in almost all of them.
There were so many great games, and what Tony Bennett did for Virginia basketball, how he really put that program back on the map, and with his own unique style of play that he learned from his dad, and he carried on. And but I just think he was one of the classiest just guys in college basketball. It's sad to see him leave, but I think in the world of NIL and transfer portal, and it's a different game now, and he knows when to say when.
Knipple with a rare miss, and a foul on the floor will keep it this way for the Blue Devils. And maybe that's going to be a trend of things we're seeing. Maybe guys aren't going to stick around and coach for 30 or 40 years like we saw with Coach K, Coach Boeheim, Coach Williams, and others.
Well, talking to Coach Scheyer today, there's really no rest for the weary anymore in college basketball. It's a year-long job that once the season's over, you've got to put your team together for the following year, and then you go on the road recruiting, and maybe you get a week somewhere in there. It's just, it's day to day. It's a lot on the coach. It's a lot on their family.
Flagg from the top. Oh, lips out. And the rebound to Lincoln.
Look at Knipple, though. He's a worker. He just goes after every rebound. Coach Scheyer talked about the need for them to be, a better rebounding team this year. If you want to push pace, there's really this collective responsibility to rebound, and he wants his guards to be big-time rebounders. The rebound start the break.
I think every coach wants their guards to be good rebounders, don't they?
Well, they've got guards that have the size to do so this year.
That's right. Both coaches today talked about the importance of rebounding. They'll stay with the Lions.
And so many people say defense, wins championships, but rebounding is such an integral piece of being a successful team on, both sides of the ball, especially defensive rebounding. Like, you've got to finish the play before you can take off and transition.
I was so fascinated when Coach Scheyer talking about defense today, and it's about developing a trust with your teammates on the defensive end.
Without a doubt. It's 5 people guarding the ball. You've got to know when you get out and pressure that the guy behind you is talking to you and he's going to help. And it really is such a high trust factor. You see the Blue Devils just continue to switch, and there's Kaman not getting out there too late.
Worked out for Duke. It'll be a shot clock violation. But I'm sure when you go back and watch film, there's a breakdown there that Duke will want to correct.
Yeah, great job there with a little misdirection, taking it to the right, kicking it back to the left. Kaman just didn't get out on the shooter. But there's going to be so much learning to get from this film as Blue Devils go into the next week, because they have a week between exhibitions, which is nice.
Here's Foster for 3. And attacking the glass and laying it in, Sion James.
Sion James, the graduate transfer from Tulane. He's just such a great guy. To talk to him, I mean, he had 350 hours of community service at Tulane as a student athlete. That's just unheard of.
Really impressive.
He has his own foundation.
Shows that, sometimes it is bigger than basketball.
He strongly believes that. He was a 2-time American Conference sportsmanship winner. I mean, he's just an exceptional young man.
Flagg through the double team, all the way to the rack.
Just a glimpse of things to come in Cameron Indoor this season. Flagg with the shot fake. He goes into his shooting motion, pulls it back, and just has that straight line drive for the dunk and makes it look so very easy.
And we'll get a chance for the 3-point play. Couldn't finish. You mentioned the week between exhibition games. Duke will play Arizona State a week from tomorrow in the Brotherhood Run game. How viable is that for a coach not to have to turn around and play 3-4 days from now?
I mean, it's just such a teaching opportunity, right? So you get out of this game, and the coaches will be in the office breaking down the film, and then they'll sit down with the players tomorrow and start to watch the film. And film is just such a great teacher. When you can see yourself doing things well, making mistakes, you can continue to improve that way. So they'll have a week of fine-tuning and fixing the things they're not doing well and continuing to improve.
13 to shoot for Cleveland. Goes baseline. Couldn't finish there. Another offensive rebound. And James comes away with it and is fouled. That's not going to make Coach Shire happy after we just talked about the importance of defensive rebounding for the Blue Devils. Proctor and Gillis back in for John Shire's team.
And shoot-around today, Coach Shire said to his team, he said 40 minutes of defense. He said the offense will take care of itself, but the defense is the thing he really wants them to focus on. He's like, not 38 minutes, not 39 minutes, 40 minutes of defense. We don't take a possession off.
Feel like they've done that today?
They've done well. I think there's a glimmer here and there, and I'm sure the coaches will point that out. But you can see how stifling they can be. Knipple for another one. That's a nice rebound and a great pass. And a flush by Knipple.
How do you do?
I like how Kaman got so excited about that assist. Nice answer.
Triple for Hudson. He has 15. Knipple, right through his legs, and commits the foul. The rookies doing it all for the Blue Devils today. Duke attacks the glass off the miss. And look at the find by the freshman. Have a day, Connor Knipple. He's got 17, and the Blue Devils rolling in Cameron on a Saturday afternoon.
For the day.
How about the unselfish nature of this group? I know we talked about it earlier, but it's really been on display all throughout the game.
Yeah, 15 assists on 23 made field goals. Watching them share the basketball to me has been one of the highlights of the day.
You see the numbers on Knipple there. The dunk he had a moment ago, his first two-pointer today.
And what a two-pointer, huh?
High percentage look.
I like how we share the basketball, the Duke team, and I like how they shoot the three. I like how they pressure the ball and get up and down the floor. A lot of things for Duke fans to be excited about this season.
10 to shoot. Hudson off a screen. Knocks down the jumper.
That's Darren Harris, the freshman from Herndon, Virginia, and he got hung on that screen, and that's just another example of, freshmen learning defense as Cooper Flagg comes off the handoff and tries to take it. We're going to stay here with Duke. On the pick and roll here. A little late, gets hung on the screen, just gets his hip clipped.
And Malawach gets the favor returned. A flush for the big man.
Nicely executed play.
It's all going right for the Blue Devils in the debut. From the corner, wouldn't go for Robertson. Malawach, another rebound.
11 on the day for the big man.
The transfer from Purdue, Gillis unable to finish. Good offensive rebound. Harrison Flagg completes the play.
Great extra effort there by Darren Harris to get it to Flagg. These are the little things as coaches you just like to see out of your team, especially early in the season, just those extra effort hustle plays.
How about this play out of the timeout by Coach Shire?
Off the whiteboard and the alley-oop to the big man. And then the extra effort by Harris to feed Cooper Flagg for the easy two.
And look at Flagg pointing to his teammate, appreciating the assist. That's an old school thing to do.
And it's a big thing to do. It makes all the difference in the world when your teammates know that you appreciate what they've done for you. And as you said earlier, Chris, like Cooper Flagg is a great communicator as a freshman. He just loves to play. He's so humble, he's so well-spoken, and he just loves to win. Nice take.
That's what they wanted to get going downhill. Blue Devils contest. Proctor in transition. He attacks the rack and will head to the line.
And there's some of that transition, faster paced basketball we've been talking about. When you can rebound the ball, you can get out and run. Proctor loves to attack the rim.
Going to the line for two. A quiet 15 points for Proctor in the first half.
He just gives you a little bit of everything. But you know, one of my favorite parts of his game is just his ability to pressure the basketball.
And on a team where defense is going to be a focal point, nice to have a guy like that.
Yeah, and he's, you know, you can see in his body he's stronger, and I think he's just really hungry this season.
Isaiah Evans will check in for the first time today. Another one of those talented freshmen, a North Carolina native from down the road in Fayetteville.
Yeah, North Mecklenburg High School, where he has his jersey retired. He won the state championship last season. He's the other McDonald's All-American beside Cooper Flagg on this Duke roster. Got a big cheer from the crowd, but he's got a bunch of family here today.
Taken away. Evans involved for the first time. Proctor pulls up and knocks down the two.
Proctor's just being able to call his own number and just doing such a great job creating one-on-one.
Talk about McDonald's All-Americans. There's a lot of former McDonald's All-Americans in this game today. See the Blue Devils, 40 consecutive years, at least one McDonald's All-America. That's pretty good.
That's incredible. And Duke has 92 total McDonald's All-Americans in their history, and that is the most of any NCAA program.
And if you want to kind of bring it full circle, Julius Hodge, the head coach of Lincoln, McDonald's All-America. He's actually got both of his McDonald's All-American jerseys in the crowd today. He played his game here in Cameron. And as you see there, a longtime NC State supporter, Wendell Murphy, wearing one of the jerseys, and Julius's son has the other one on.
That's pretty cool.
That's great. All Blue Devils, though, in Cameron today. Unfortunately for Coach Hodge, it appears he's on his way to an 0-4 record in Cameron.
Great on-ball defense.
Everything is just tough for Lincoln.
Yeah, Mason Gillis just making that a really tough contested pull-up off-balance jump shot. You know, we talk about shooters on this team. I mean, Mason Gillis last year at Purdue, he was number 6 in the NCAA. He shot almost 47% from behind the line, and we haven't even seen him break out that weapon yet. But, I mean, made 9 threes, set a Mackey Arena record in a game against Penn State.
Debbie, he shot 40% from 3 for his career.
And they haven't needed him to do it yet today, but we know he's capable, right?
See his numbers there, 11 NCAA tournament games, 5 starts in that NCAA tournament run. Talk about the experience to have a guy who's been through the NCAA tournament when it's at its biggest. Boy, that's really going to help this Duke team.
It's such an asset. And you know, you look at his stats and 6.3 points and 4.2 rebounds. You may go, but like his 11 NCAA tournament games, a national championship game. He brings experience. He brings just like poise and so much leadership to this team. He's such a great piece of the puzzle.
Big get for the Blue Devils. And it is about blending Cooper Flagg and Connor Knippel and these great freshmen with these guys that can help bring those rookies along.
Without a doubt.
Right on cue. He'll go to the line.
Coach Shire telling us that he's a big, consistent voice in practice every day.
How much of that can be taught versus being an intangible for a player?
For some players, it's really hard because they're just not naturally that verbal, but you can do it. It's a habit, just like any other habit you form in basketball, and it's so important on the defensive end especially that you communicate with your teammates.
Blue Devils by 30. It's their biggest lead. Lincoln hung with the Blue Devils for a while in the first half, but a big Duke run midway through the opening period created some separation. Look at Evans fighting there through some contact. And Duke wants to run. Foster to the hole. Everything but the finish. Sinyus with the catch. It'll stay with Lincoln. When we come back, all Blue Devils here in Cameron. The debut for the Blue Devils here in 2024.
Back in the day, I mean, what an amazing point guard he was.
And Debbie, the exhibition game, the proceeds from the game next week benefiting Duke Children's Hospital, something you know a whole lot about, and just a phenomenal partnership between Duke basketball and Duke Children's Hospital.
It really is. Over 40 years that partnership has existed, started by Coach K and the Krzyzewski family. The Shires are now carrying the torch, and John and Marcel are just wonderful advocates for Duke Children's.
Malawash couldn't hit the triple. That's just the next in a long litany of very challenging games that John Shire's team is going to play through the non-conference portion of the schedule. Some other notable non-conference matchups, of course, Kentucky, Arizona on the road, top-ranked Kansas, Auburn, just to name a few.
You know, when you have a team like this Duke team this season, if you want to be standing in the final game, you've got to play the best competition. And you can see, you know, Duke will play Kentucky down in Atlanta, and then they'll go to Arizona, and then they will play Kansas in Las Vegas in a neutral site, and then they'll play Auburn December 4th here in the ACC SEC Challenge. So
here's James in transition to finish it. And then the Blue Devils have that home opener against Maine on November the 4th. A little bit of a game for Cooper Flagg, perhaps.
The kid from Maine, University of Maine, coming to Cameron.
And it's going to go quick now, isn't it? We get through the first exhibition in, what, about 15, 16 days?
I mean, it's here already. It'll be snowing before you know it. How about Reggie Hudson today, Chris? I mean, he's just holding down the fort for his team. The senior from the Bronx, just knocking down another shot. 22 points, 10 for 20 from the floor. Is really, you know, coach telling us that he is the best point guard in the CIAA, and he's definitely proving it today.
Wouldn't go. Possession to Lincoln. How good has Hudson been in the second half? Well, Lincoln has 14 points this half, and he has 12 of the 14.
He's really come to play today and has played with a lot of poise and led this team, and not the result they probably wanted, but I think they've really can see how talented their team is. They put on a nice show today, and he's pretty capable off a ball screen of creating his own space, and that ball screen defense is something Duke's really going to have to focus on as he knocks down back-to-back buckets.
Give Lincoln credit for continuing to compete in a game with the spread that we have. Here's Evans. And the tough finish will send him to the line.
Isaiah Evans, a North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year. As we said, a McDonald's All-American out of Fayetteville.
Mr. Basketball in North Carolina a couple times. A lot of basketball talent at the amateur level in this state.
Very much.
Blue Devils now 15 of 21 from the line today, so they've converted at a pretty good clip from the charity stripe.
Last season they shot about 77%. I think, is that a coach, that's what you like to see? Even better.
Spoken like a true coach. They're free, you got to make them, right?
That's right. That ball screen defense again. Tyrese Proctor chasing Reggie Hudson. Nice curl cut from the weak side.
Guard of the turnaround, in and out. Offensive rebound for Lincoln, but he was on the inline, and it's back to the Blue Devils as Coach Sinyus couldn't keep it. Yeah. John Shire will call a timeout, and we will take it as well. All Blue Devils here in Cameron this afternoon. Stay with us. Have a day. That's a story he's going to be telling his great-grandkids. Yeah, I scored 24 in Cameron.
One time when I was in Cameron.
Here's Cooper Flagg out of the timeout. Gillis the rebound. Proctor would tend to shoot. Wants to create. 3 to shoot. Flag. The runner wouldn't go. Knipple keeps the possession alive.
Rebounding guards, good defensive possession by the Lions. Then they give up the offensive board, and Knipple's going to take advantage of a shorter defender down here on the block, and he just misses the chippy.
A rare miss for Knipple today.
He's a worker, though, isn't he?
Is.
He just does all the little things.
Nearly traveled. Hudson keeps his pivot foot. And right through the legs of Malawach.
Blue Devils, for the most part today, have done a nice job keeping Lincoln out of the paint, closing up the gaps, keeping their players in front of them, pressuring the ball. I mean, every coach will tell you the defense has a long way to come, but this is a nice start.
Coach Shire today said, we haven't skipped any steps.
And it's a process. I mean, he'll tell you that. It's step by step, putting the pieces together, and then the next piece is learning your teammates' strengths and weaknesses, where to pass on the ball, what they like to do, how to play well together. But clearly, Kahn and Cooper have no problem playing together.
Second shot clock violation Duke is forced. And that will take us to a break. 8 minutes to go in Cameron. All Blue Devils here this afternoon in the lid lifter of the 2024 season. We'll have,
in the wake of Tony Bennett's absence. But Duke, the unanimous favorite by far.
And NC State picked 8th after that Final Four run a year ago. Curious to see what Coach Keats' club looks like this year. And a foul on the floor. It should be another just banner year, you assume, for the ACC. So much talent in this league. Of course, the additions of Cal, Stanford, and SMU. 1-1 coming for Malik Brown. I am curious about Virginia, though, to see how the Cavaliers look. Given the timing of the announcement, I think Virginia's playing an exhibition game today, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Well, I think NC State proved last season that anything can happen, right? Any team can peak at the right time. ACC is always just such exciting basketball, and everybody brings their A game when they come to Cameron.
And it's such just a battle of the best every single night. So battle tested if you come out of the ACC. 1 of 2 from the line for Brown. Hit a little bit of a scoring lull for both teams. Blue Devils have missed their last 4. Lincoln over 2 minutes without a bucket.
Well, this is a tough thing for like a Duke team to learn. And what you want to see is, no matter what the lead, no matter what the time on the clock is, you want to see the same level of intensity the whole time. And that's what Coach Shire was talking today about. 40 minutes of defense. The score doesn't matter. It's possession to possession.
Caleb Foster back in. Duke seems like they're a team, Debbie, that's maybe a little longer defensively than they were a year ago.
Without a doubt. I mean, the shortest player being 6'5", and that's Foster. I mean, we've got some length, some height under the rim, a very different roster from the physical body makeup.
How does that impact Duke's defense? What's different about it? Shot clock, I don't think, reset. But it's Jackson who's a little shaken up here. He'll head to the bench. Sorry.
Defensively, you know, you have that much length. It's hard to, and you have that much, rim protection. It's hard to score at the rim and get high percentage shots. It's when you have that reach, you have more ability to deflect the ball, apply more pressure to the ball handler, and you see Duke's ability to switch. And switching defenses are really difficult to play against.
Nearly a backcourt violation. Blue Devils come out of the scrum with it. Foster, Brown, here's flag! Throw it down, big fella!
What a great lob pass by Malik Brown, creating a little offense with the defense. And the star of the show, Cooper Flagg, brings the crazies to their feet. We'll get another look at it. Little hustle on the floor. Caleb Foster comes up with it. Brown puts it up, and Flagg just throws it down with authority. One more look, because we can't get enough of it.
22 for the rookie.
And look at him just elevate. What a game he's having in his debut.
Everything just so natural.
It just seems so easy.
See the lengthy drought by Lincoln. A lot of that's credit to the defense that Duke has played. 10 to shoot. Lincoln just now into their offense. Knocked away. And a foul on Sion James.
And it's really hard with this switching to find a mismatch to capitalize on, because the Duke players are all 6'5" and taller, so it's hard for a smaller team like Lincoln to really get an advantage against the switch.
There's the dynamic duo that's done so much for Duke today. 22 for Flagg. Nipple has 17. And now I imagine priority number one for both these teams is to just get out of here healthy.
That's a big part of college basketball, is just that's the luck of the draw, staying healthy. You know, it's eating right, getting the right rest, and just hoping that the good luck is with you.
Harris misses the triple.
Darren Harris from Paul VI High School, a powerhouse up in Northern Virginia. Same high school as Duke favorite Jeremy Roach. Nice pass, and the dunks are starting to pile up. Proctor to Harris for another easy two.
His first points of the game. Blue Devils adding to the big lead.
Malik Brown, the defensive specialist, so active. He's such a smart defensive player. Anticipates that pass and picks it off.
With the steals, the deflections, we talked about Brown leading the ACC in steals last year. Is that one of those other things that's also just an intangible as a player?
You know, I think there's an innate sense of anticipation, but and you've got to have the quickness and athleticism to do it, but you also have to focus on your defense, and that's what he does. He plays to his strengths, and defense is his specialty.
Nice to have a guy like that on your team, isn't it?
So unselfish. Just wants his team to win.
And that one wouldn't go. Another rebound for Isaiah Evans.
Sion James running a little bit of point guard right now.
Evans will try a triple. Blue Devils have shot over 30% from three today. Good take by Robertson for the finish.
Nice response in transition.
If you're Julius Hodge, the head coach of Lincoln, are you pleased with the showing by your team today?
I think Julius came in here and really wanted his team to do a lot better, but I love their effort. You know, they're playing against one of the top teams in the country.
Oh.
They're a Division II team, and, you know, yet another weapon, Caleb Foster, to show Duke's versatility offensively. But I think Coach Hodge has to be pleased with the defensive effort, the energy they've played with, and they haven't stopped playing. You know, and it's a tough crowd. It's a tough place to play, so a lot to learn from this game, but I'd be proud if I were him.
Again, the preseason pick, as you mentioned, to win the CIAA. You see a poll there. Obviously, Fayetteville State, Winston-Salem State in our area. CIAA is a really competitive league in its own right at the Division II level.
Without a doubt. These guys last year were 17-14, 10-7 in conference, and came back and won the conference championship.
Lost in the first round to Gannon in the NCAA tournament. And, you know, the way Coach Hodge got the job, just interesting, was at a conference in Durham, as a matter of fact, as Harris hits the triple. Got to talking to the AD. Next thing you know, he's the new head coach.
Sometimes it's who you know, and it's being in the right place at the right time. As we see the freshman Harris, he's a great shooter. Knocked down his first three, the 11th of the day for the Blue Devils.
He's actually at a conference hosted by North Carolina Central head coach Lavelle Moten. Talk about a guy who's done a lot of great work in the game and out of the game, and that's Coach Moten just down the street. And Coach Hodge trying to continue to build the legacy of this Lincoln program. And they've got the pieces, I think, to really compete at a high level at the Division II level, not just in the CIAA, but for a long stretch in the postseason.
Without a doubt, a lot of experience, nice execution. Just can't hang on to the basketball, and we're going the other way. I think they're tired now, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a fast-paced game. It's early in the season, too. You're still not in your tip-top shape.
In terms,
working towards it.
Sorry, Debbie. In terms of playing fast, you like the pace that Duke has played?
I love it. I love that it's run and attack the rim, rebound, run and attack, and another three. And there's Sion James hitting one from long range. 12 threes for the Blue Devils.
Duke in the midst of a 15-2 run over the last 5.5 minutes. And that will be our last timeout Duke getting it done all over the scorecard of what Duke does, in addition to Knipple and Flag. Cameron Sheffield has checked in for Duke for the first time today. A Rice transfer. And the right-handed runner wouldn't go. And the rebound for James. Blue Devils by 40, their biggest lead of the game.
Lions going to play a little 3-2 zone here.
Oh, that'll shoot you out of a zone. First triple for Evans.
It's been tough from behind the arc for Lincoln, but not for the Blue Devils today. And Isaiah Evans lines it up and knocks it down for the Blue Devils' 13th three of the day.
Young misfires on the triple. Here's Evans again. Back-to-back triple.
We said they could shoot it better this year, and they're showing how many long-range weapons as the freshman knocks down back-to-back threes. This is any indication of things to come, Chris.
It's going to be a good year in Durham.
We've got some subs in the game. Spencer Hubbard, the fan favorite.
Begovic also in for the Blue Devils. Always nice when those guys can get in. Hubbard contesting, and a foul on Spencer Hubbard.
That's a good job by Lincoln to go right at Hubbard. Shortest player on the floor, big height differential there. It's going to put Coach Sinews on the line.
Sends Coach Sinews to the line. And Debbie, while we have a moment before we leave, also want to point out Trey Styons, who's one of our officials today. His dad, Ramey, a longtime college basketball official, especially in the ACC, passed away during the offseason. So we're certainly thinking about the Styons family today and all season.
Most certainly. Sending our regards and our love and thinking about you guys.
Knocked away. Begovic with the steal. Here comes Hubbard. On the wing. Harris, another triple.
Number 15 on the day for the Blue Devils. Harris with the quick release.
Duke shooting 42% from beyond the arc today.
Puts them over the century mark, and the turnovers are piling up here. Hubbard.
And the foul!
And when Spencer Hubbard scores, the crazies go crazy, and they are on their feet for this fan favorite as he goes to the free throw line to finish the three-point play.
That might be the loudest ovation we've heard in Cameron all day.
It's still going. The bench goes crazy. And here comes Stanley. Stanley Borden from Istanbul, Turkey, the 7-foot junior.
Hubbard couldn't finish the three-point play. 100 seconds to go. The spin, everything but the finish for Brewer. Borden was open at the high post. And Duke wants to run some clock here. Hubbard nearly had it kicked away. Gets it back, 8 to shoot. Hubbard will try a triple. Begovic the rebound. Evans, Borden down low for the finish.
points for Stanley Borden.
It's all going right for Duke this afternoon.
Only 2 players on the roster right now that haven't scored. Pushing the 30-second mark on the clock.
Evans creates, goes to the hole, and 2 more for Isaiah Evans. He's had a big second half.
Making it look easy.
See if Lincoln wants to push here for one more. Look at Borden, or Hubbard, I beg your pardon, poking it away. And it'll stay with Lincoln, 12 seconds to go. What is the thing you like most about what you've seen from Blue Devils today?
I love how they share the basketball. I love the multiple weapons they have. How many players can do so many things. But they play well as a team. The defense looks good. It's at a great starting point, and I love these freshmen. They're just poised and mature and talented.
Really, the maturity aspect, I think, is the underrated part of all this. It's easy to be a good player, but to be as mature and complete as they are. Cooper Flagg, a prime example, only 17 years old.
Makes all the difference in the world. It contributes to a strong locker room. And you see how excited these guys were on the bench cheering for their teammates when they were knocking down shots. That team mentality is what will carry you through to the very end. It's the connectiveness that Coach Shire talks about.
Duke finishes the game on a 24-4 run, and another season of Duke basketball off to a phenomenal start. John Shire's team looks really, really good, at least to start the 24 season.
They do, and Cooper Flagg is everything they told us he would be. What a joy to watch him play in Conconipple today in his freshman debut. But for all the Blue Devils today, unselfish basketball, team basketball, a joy to watch.
Blue Devils with one more exhibition game against Arizona State next week before they get it going for real in early November. Blue Devils with a phenomenal effort today with 3 in double figures, led by 22 from the rookie Cooper Flagg. For Debbie Taylor, our producer Will Black, our director Chad Lampman, and the rest of our phenomenal crew, Chris Edwards saying good afternoon from Cameron Indoor Stadium. All Blue Devils on a Saturday afternoon.